actors of all time. I call him the King.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we are in this room for one man. This man is a legend. This man, everyone knows who he is. He is one of the most fearsome Transformers of all time, truly needing no introduction. That Transformer being Wheelie. No, let's be honest here. He's Scooter from GoBots. But seriously though, Mr. Welker is a Hollywood voice god. He has done so many voices. We are here today for Megatron and tons of other Transformers. I'm not going to go through them all. You know how it is. So I want everyone to get up on their feet and give Frank Welker a round of applause.
First, let me say thank you to you guys. Toronto is awesome. You people are fantastic, and I've been so happy and welcomed at these cons. But today, when we're doing the signings, not one person didn't come by without saying, "Frank, thank you for coming. Wow, thank you for letting me come." Thank you so much. Very, very nice people.
Thank you. Now, before we're going to sit down and start with our questions that have been pre-submitted, I just have to do one quick piece of housekeeping. Our Make-A-Wish auction has raised over $11,000. Yeah! Immediately after this panel, so you can finish your bidding at 6 p.m. Thank you. Okay, excellent. Frank, you want to have a seat?
Yes, of course.
Hey, Frank.
Hey, how you doing?
Great. So, when you were told the Megatron character would not continue after Transformers the movie, at that time were you also aware that you would actually be voicing the new leader, Galvatron, after the movie?
Not really immediately. First of all, both Peter and I were a little shocked that we were sort of, and, so after recovering from that, we still had sessions to do from the show. And when Galvatron was introduced to the show, Wally Burr said, "Frank, we'd like you to try and get, close to Leonard Nimoy, do a little something if you want, but try and kind of capture what he was doing in the feature." So I did, and they went with what I had, and we kind of played with it a little bit, but mostly I was trying to do Leonard Nimoy. But I didn't know, at the end of the picture. It happened once we went back to working on G1 stuff. Yeah. Transitioning into Transformers Prime, we wanted to change, and then the characters are now computer generated, so there's a lot of difference and a lot of subtleties in the mouse. So then we started getting into this guy. Megatron into this Megatron. I am Megatron, still leader of the Decepticons.
If there was a Mount Rushmore for voice actors, without a doubt, it would feature yourself, Mel Blanc, and June Foray. But who do you think would be that fourth head on the mountain?
Peter Golden. Very, very, very nice of you to say. But actually, I would probably, I would have to go with that. going to try and be very diplomatic and very nice, but in all sincerity, there's a wonderful, 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 wonderful voice personality that we don't have anymore, Dawes Butler, who created so many incredible, incredible voices. And I feel like I'm a student of his, so I would have to say, Dawes, why don't you go up there in my place? But thank you all, I appreciate it. Thank you.
We've got these two questions with the X next to them.
So those are the ones that can't.
Correct. Those two.
The ones about the cooking, the car, and the girls, no. We're not going to go into that tonight, you know, it's just, it was a quick thing that happened. I was a little disappointed in myself. Actually, yeah.
So, Neeson kind of covered this a little bit, but when you started developing the voice of Galvatron for season 3, do you recall at what point it was decided to make him insane, and how did you decide to differentiate him from Megatron? What did you add to the character to change it up there?
You know, I think it just the intensity and trying to just buzz, you know, just use the buzz of the intensity and try and get the voice up and a few octaves, you know, whenever you get at that crazy, it kind of gets into the high things, like even with Megatron and the, you know, I am Megatron. Okay, I'll take out the trash.
Yeah, so leaving my next question, I gotta say, the first time I found out that Megatron's voice is actually produced by human larynx, I was just floored. I just assumed it was like a computer or something, just like, and even when you were doing it in front of us right now, I thought, you know, somebody was gonna come out of the curtain or something. It's uncanny. Leading into that, so iconic and unprecedented in terms of its startlingly alien quality, right? Were there any other characters or actors that inspired you to create that guttural sound? Like, where did that come from?
Well, I have told the story before, but when I was trying to come up with a voice for Megatron, I had this deep voice that I played with, and it was actually started as an impression of Barry White. No. Probably a lot of you don't know who Barry White is. He was the singer of Love.
Can't get enough of your love.
I love you, baby. I want you, baby. I need you, baby.
And it was such a big, powerful, funny voice to me, because I was just a kid going, "Well, that guy is funny." It's scary too. But anyhow, it was really, so I loved that voice, and I started kind of fiddling with it. Yeah, and I used it also for Dr. Claw and for...
I'll get you, Gadget, if it's the last thing I do, Gadget!
And a couple of other features, a Disney feature, The Cave of Wonders.
He who enters the Cave of Wonders, beware.
When I was trying to think of something different for Megatron, because I know that there's other actors who do low voices, Peter Cullen. Just such a voice.
Peter Cullen.
I can't do him. I know he's doing me. I am working on him.
Roll out.
Terrible. I will get it. Maybe not the soul, but enough to irritate him. But there was a thing that I did that was actually, I called it my cave voice, and I see if I can do it for you. I'm trying to do like maybe 11 different sounds at the same time. So you go, hello, I am the Cave of Wonders. Where are you? Save me, Megatron. put it with
This. I am Megatron, leader of the Decepticons.
but the actual deep voice, that went to Soundwave, which was very light.
I am Soundwave. Talk in a monotone, and then add the electric on it, and you get Soundwave. But I like doing the voice of Caves, and I am your leader. Yes, my liege.
I'm sorry, I'm getting carried away. Dead-End Kids, you remember the long time ago? There
The
were,
greasers almost.
no, this is way before this was back like in Kevin. Can you help me? When were the Dead-End Kids? That 30s? 30s. Notice I went to Kevin. He's gonna be so angry with me. When you come to me for the 30s? I'm in the 60s and 70s, 80s. Look at me. Anyway, there were Leo Gorski and Hunts Hall.
You know, Leo, of course, is kind of these guys. Hey, well, you guys don't say it, don't, you know, and then he take it into French, he just bring it up again, you know?
I didn't know Hunts Hall was like this shit. He was a fun guy.
I almost used him for Ralph the God. But Ralph the God is an original character. I should run for president.
Describe your relationship with Pierre Collin.
Who put you up to this? Well, Peter Cullen is so much fun to hang out with. We spend a great deal of time, he's probably told you this too, trying to make each other laugh, playing gags on each other. Working with him, he's what we call a mensch. He's such a good guy. He's a generous actor. So whenever there's a line that comes up, he will help you with it. You know, a lot of times you'll see me off camera, the read lines for the other actor while the actor's on camera. Well, same thing sometimes in the voice world, you know, where you got to do some pickup lines. You just do them by yourself.
Peter goes, no, man. I'll put myself through it for you.
But he really, you know, he'll do anything, whether it's acting or on a friendship basis. He's a really, really good guy. And it's a lot of fun working with him.
How's it been returning to the Megatron role in recent years? How has it been playing multiple versions of the same character after helping to build such an iconic version in G1? I think this is something you touched on a bit already.
Yeah, I think Hep kind of touched on it earlier, but you know, when I first found out that there was a resurgence of the characters and Megatron was coming back, that they were going to do the features, it was really exciting because the G1 voice for Megatron was a total and complete original creation. A lot of the voices that you do, sometimes you'll pick up maybe a character like Red Skelton for Bullwinkle. Red Skelton was kind of the genesis, I think, for Bullwinkle. Oh, they do they go there, and then it's turned into Bullwinkle. So sometimes you use things that are kind of other pieces of people's creations for certain things. And then the other side of that is when a director directs you away from your base instinct. So when I looked at Megatron originally on a piece of paper and I saw the drawing, what came out was those things, the voices from the mini voices and all those things, trying to create that character. But what we ended up with was those voices that were original, that were from your gut. Because sometimes when a director moves you in a different direction, it still works, but it's not your initial feeling, and you don't feel sometimes like you totally created it from your personal DNA. So then as you move on to the different versions of the character, now you have another opportunity to add something new, but there's people kind of moving you around a little bit. So you have the pleasure of the first original child. And then as you move into the other ones, it's a different kind of pleasure because now you're trying to do what a director wants you to do, what the producer and the writers want you to do. So it's another form of acting. You're trying to capture what they want and then still throw in your stuff. So, and then for Galvatron in the feature, Michael pretty much said to me, hey Frank, what do you think? Well, that's the greatest thing you can say to an actor because then, you know, he's like, well, give me some paintbrushes, I'm gonna go to town. And so there's different enjoyments and pleasures in all three versions, and it's been a fun trip, good ride, still going.
So next, who were your mentors when you started in show business? What were the most important things that they taught you?
Well, in the voice world, well, first I was going to say maybe in the stand-up comedy world, I went out on the road with some different groups, the Righteous Brothers, and Bobby Hatfield was like my brother. I mean, you know, he took me to the parties, he took me to the places to see where jazz and music was happening, and then I worked with a group called Brazil 66, Sergio Mendes, and their group taught me to drink just a little bit of brandy before you go on stage to clear the pipes. That's what, I'm 22 years old and brandy doesn't sound so bad. But it was strictly for medicinal purposes. And it was just a slight bit. And then the next thing is they said, you know, you should wear makeup. Okay, waiter! But they were, you know, so they were friends in show business and they were teaching me things, and the reason to wear makeup is because we're playing huge coliseums and auditoriums, and they say your face is so expressive you need people to see you. So in the early days it was these musicians that were teaching me secrets and things, and also about how to use the microphone with drums and all that kind of stuff. And then when I started getting into voices, as I said, I worked with Don Messick, the great Don Messick, Dawes Butlers, Mel Blanc. Just, you know, those are some of the older folks. And then just my fellow actors, you know, are also inspiration and mentors.
Okay, my question is, what's the most challenging monster or animal voice you've ever had to come up with?
Ooh. There's been a lot of challenges. Can I tell you two?
Yep.
He asked him one. I know, but the other guy had half a question. He didn't, so I have half a question to go up and then apply it towards this.
I'll allow it.
Okay, it's allowed.
You're deviating.
Okay, I'm deviating. It was actually one of the easiest, but it was one of the goofiest. And I'm trying to think of the picture. It was a long time ago. I think it may have been like my science project or something. I don't know. But there was a mouse that was underwater and was supposed to have a helmet on. And they said, we want the mouse to evoke and act and so on. And he's on the screen drowning, obviously. But, you know. So they had this little helmet on. They said, can you come up with some kind of sound for the mouse underwater? And I thought, well, now there's a challenge. Bizarre request. I just wanted to share with you just so that you know some of the stuff they ask us to do. But the most difficult and also a lot of fun was in Species. Do you remember what was her name in there?
Natasha Henstridge. Still.
Syl.
Syl.
And Syl was actually a beautiful model from New York who comes down from space, and her job is to mate with the most eligible male human to interject the species from outer space into the human. And it was very disgusting. But on the train there were these big eggs that were hanging there, and they had to have the sounds. Which was a lot of fun. and then, you know, they hatch and they come out, but she's now around, and there was a scene that we worked on, and the director was great. When she, after she's mated with the male, then the way she disposes of the male is to stick her tongue through the back of his neck. You know, so they'll be kissing and she's gorgeous, and then all of a sudden you hear this, and he says, "Frank, we need a sound." I won't do that for you. But there was, and then she goes on, and the way that they dispose of her is she's burned alive, and with her babies, she does a baby. So I had to do all of that screaming as a female creature from outer space. That was tough. I prefer the Barry White voice. But
Thank you.
yes.
Transformers, Scooby-Doo, Ghostbusters. How has it felt to see new life come into these brands again?
Excellent question. You wrote that, didn't you?
The answer is yes.
The answer is you know, it's amazing to see all of these, so many of these former shows coming back now as features. And there was even, I heard a couple years back, a Scooby-Doo play that was all across the UK. I think that they actually toured with a Scooby-Doo group on stage, which I'd love to see that, you know. But so the fact that that show has gone from movies to games to, you know, it just goes on and on. But it's actually never gone away. The other shows that have kind of disappeared and come back, it's remarkable and really nice for those of us who worked a lot in the earlier days to see the stuff come back and give us an opportunity to perform, you know. And to see what kind of new life these shows can take and where they're going to go with them, and how the fans react. Once again, I want to thank all of you who've supported me over the years as Megatron. You don't know what a great difference you've made, and I appreciate it very, very much.
Thank you for your contributions to not only Transformers, but every piece of media you've been involved with. You have shaped numerous childhoods, and you continue to entertain us to this day. Thank you. We appreciate you. I want you to give Frank Welker a standing ovation.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you all so much. I love you guys.